risk, the possibility that in these negotiations you could concede that EU citizens would have more right to come and work here than citizens of other non-EU countries?
No, what will happen in the trade agreement, as happens in any trade agreement, is that there's a section that is about mobility, and this term has been conflated sometimes with free movement. It's completely different. What this is about is things like if you're the manufacturer of a photocopier and you've sold it to somebody in France and you want to maintain, you've got to service that photocopier, that sort of movement of an individual to be able to do that will be covered by those mobility provisions. We will come forward with proposals on our rules for people coming to the UK from the European Union. We will be taking back control. They will no longer have the rights they currently have. Free movement will end. And I have to say, Andrew, I think if you're talking to senior British politicians about anybody who's got an interest in making sure we control immigration, I'm the one who's been doing that for the last 8 years and making sure that we deliver for the British people on their concerns in this area.
What happens if you take your new proposals to Brussels and they say no?
Well, so far they haven't said no. So far they've said that they were willing to sit down and talk about this. And I think we both know that the clock is ticking. But I've always said no deal is better than a bad deal.
All right. Lots of Tory MPs are coming back to Westminster tomorrow morning. A lot of them are unhappy with this. And some of them are going to vote against your government when it comes to the trade bill tomorrow. And there's a series of important votes. What happens if they bring that trade bill down?
Well, if that trade bill is an important part of our no-deal preparations. That trade deal is an important part of ensuring that we're able to maintain trade agreements in the future. If we don't see that trade deal through, then something like 40 agreements that the EU has with various countries around the world won't be able to be continued when the UK leaves the EU for us as a United Kingdom. So I would just ask people, and I've got people.
Sack me at this point?
No. What I'm saying, Andrew, is very simple. As you might imagine, on this particular issue of Europe and Brexit, that I have voices from all sides. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different views that people have about what we should be doing. So some people are saying they want to vote in the trade bill to keep us in the customs union. I say that's not acceptable. That's not what the British people voted for. Others are saying, well, perhaps we can not have the bill at all. That would be damaging to our no-deal preparations. Let's just keep our eyes on the prize here. The prize is leaving the European Union in a way that's in our national interest.
You're not very far away from the 48 letters going in to trigger a leadership campaign, a leadership contest. In those circumstances, will you certainly stand?
Well, actually the process is slightly different. There's a vote before you go into a leadership contest. What I want to focus people's minds on is how we ensure that we achieve that prize, the benefits of leaving the European Union, that we get a deal that's in our national interest, that does free us up to do those trade deals around the world, which it will do, that we are then able, as that independent nation, to go out there as the Britain that people want us to be.
And are you going to stand as the Conservative leader if there is a contest?
I have always said that I am in this for the long term.
Okay.
And
now, we've got a lot more still to do, and we're running out of time.
I just wanted to say, this is important. This is a very complex issue. It is important. What I'm delivering is a deal that's in our national interest, that delivers on the referendum, and that is negotiable. You've
said quite right, there's lots of voices coming at you from different angles with all sorts of advice. Let's just have one more of those voices, one you might recognise.
The advice. I did give her a suggestion. I wouldn't say advice. And I think she found it maybe too brutal. And that's okay, because I could see that. But I don't know if you remember what I said. But I did give her a certain amount of... I gave her a suggestion, not advice. I wouldn't want to give her advice. I'd give her a suggestion. I could fully understand why she thought it was a little bit tough.
OK, the whole country wants to know, Prime Minister, what was that brutal, tough suggestion?
He told me I should sue the EU.
Sue the EU?
Sue the EU. Not go into negotiations, sue them. Actually, no.
Did you think about that for a second?
We're going into negotiations with them. But interestingly, what the President also said at that press conference was don't walk away. Don't walk away from the negotiations, because then you're stuck. So I want us to be able to sit down to negotiate the best deal for Britain.
OK, now you're a proud feminist. I just wonder, what was it like standing with that man and being so close to him for so long over that weekend, given what he has said about women and given how he has behaved in the past? How did that make you feel?
Well, I've made it clear in the past about my views on the attitude to women. As you say, I'm very clear about the way that women should be treated and the respect that women should be given. I was sitting down as a female leader with the President of the United States, talking about issues that are of great importance to the people of the US, the people of the UK, but also actually of great importance around the world. So some of the issues we were discussing about NATO, about foreign policy issues around the world.
I'm trying to talk a little bit about the chemistry of it all. There's that extraordinary moment when you're coming into the press conference, he grabs you by the hand and kind of pulls you down those stairs. What was going on there? Is there a medical problem with stairs and Donald Trump?
Well, I think what you notice is that whenever he takes me down a slope or stairs, and he did it up the steps at Blenheim Palace, he takes my hand to help in going up the steps. Now, I think
it makes you look a little bit submissive. That's the trouble.
Oh, Andrew, come on! Are you telling me that you have never sort of said to somebody, "Let me"?
It's the way he
go
does
up
it. It's the grab, but it's also some of the things that he has said. I mean, for instance, all the things that he has said about immigration. I was very interested in what you said about immigration in that press conference, because you made it clear we've got a very good record on immigration in this country. But he said, for instance, that the whole of Europe's civilization was being affected by all these people coming in, and it was going to end badly. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I don't know. He has his own views on this particular issue. I have different views on this issue.
It sounds quite dark.
Well, President Trump talks looks at this in a wider sense and talks in these terms. What's important here in the UK is what I and the government feel about this and what the British public feel about this. And yes, they want us to control immigration. That's why many people want us to ensure that we end free movement when we come out of the EU, which we will do. But immigration overall has been good for this country. People have come here
last Trump question,
and contributed to our economy and our society.
One last Trump question. Can you trust a word he says?
I sit down with the President of the United States of America and we come to agreements and we put those into place. And that is part of the very special, the highest degree of special relationship that we have.
Prime Minister, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.